Alright guys, my name is Ben and here today we are doing episode 2 for the RWBY character tier list that I'm doing, the series. So we did episode 1, right? And that one was all about RWBY and pretty much explaining how I'm doing this series. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and watch that first and then come here because I'm going to pretty much be showing you where RWBY was placed, and if you don't know where she is, then you might want to know how I got there and how I'm doing the ranking system. So I do all the explanation in the first video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, right? All right, so Weiss, Schnee, right? Second character of Team RWBY. Fantastic character. She's in my top 3, like, already. I think honestly she's my number 2. She's my number 2 favorite character, only behind Cinder. Cinder is my favorite character in the whole show. I know a lot of people hate her, but I love Cinder. But anyway, we're not here to talk about her. We're here to talk about Weiss. So you're going to see some gold stars pop up. It's gonna be the first time you'll see the gold stars. They don't affect the overall ranking. It is just a side piece that I added in. So if a character has a gold star, it's not going to actually affect them. It's just my personal, this is my favorite in the entire show. So if you see a gold star on someone, that's what it means. And I'll tell you this right now, Weiss has at least one, like, from the start. So you'll see what that is when I get there. But on to the tier, if I can pull it up. Okay, thank you. On to the tier list. So we're here. Weiss, Schnee. All right. Fantastic character, like I said before. So let's go ahead and just go through the very first category. So first impression, right? So like I said, I actually saw her and the entire Team RWBY in the game Smite. This is the very first time I saw her. And she is on she's played by one of my favorite characters, and that character is either really, really strong or really, really weak, depending on the items in the game. That's too much to go into, but whenever I play her, I don't use any other skin except for Weiss's skin. And that's the same thing with the RWBY skin. Actually, all 4 of them. Yeah, all 4 of them. The only one I use are the RWBY skins. So on those specific characters that the skins are attached to. So obviously, you know. But if we're talking about in the show, I did see the white trailer first before I watched the show. And this is when I watched it on Crunchyroll, and that's when they had it in order. So like all the World of Remnants were where they were supposed to be, and I was like, oh snap, this is kind of cool. So I never saw anything out of order. But I did see the white trailer. It was really good. The singing was phenomenal, like always, but I didn't really think too much about it. I was watching it very casually in the beginning. Not very analytical, and I just remember her fighting this giant knight, and it was coming off of the RWBY Red trailer, so it was coming off of a high of RWBY, you know, because we all know that the red trailer is just so hardcore, and the white trailer, it wasn't as hardcore. So and I was in terms of her, either my first impression total or my first impression on the show, neither stuck out to me. They weren't good in a sense that made me want to really learn about the character, but they weren't bad in a sense that I was deterred away from them. They were just like, I was like, okay, I'll meet this character and then we'll move on from it. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, right? On either side, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and give her 3 stars, right? I feel like that. Whoa, hello, copy. Thank you. Thank you. Freaking computer, man. All right. Like I said, it was pretty overall, just really, really, it was good. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, boom. I mean, now that I watch it, it's different now, but we're talking about my initial first reaction. And I feel like that's just, you know, fair, I guess. So character design, right? I thought I had this open, but I did not. Silly me. Here we go. Did I have this open? I did not. Okay. So here we have, we need to talk about her most current outfit. So we're going to talk about her most current outfit, and then we're going to go back. So Weiss has always had very, upper class outfits. I mean, it's because, you know, she's the heiress to the Schnee Dust Company, or ex-heiress, if you haven't, you know, caught up. Although it's gonna be interesting now that I'm thinking about it. It's actually interesting because now Jacques is in jail. How'd that work? All right, anyway. Okay, here we go. So we're just gonna talk, we're gonna talk about our outfit before I get sidetracked. So this one, this is such a weird one for me, and I think it's because of her hair. I really like the outfit. It's just the hair. That's when it starts to, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike it. It's just, I don't know. It just seems a little off for me. So if we're talking about outfits, I think just the hair itself, like not necessarily the front part, but like the back part, you know, it just, I don't know. I think it's more confusing to me because I don't know where all the hair came from. I mean, it has to be like a hair extension because she did not have that much hair before, unless she's like super fluffing it, but I don't know how it would stay in that form. Obviously anime powers, you know, whatever. But still, like, if we're looking at it, like, this is the same sort of, she does the same kind of coat thing in all of them. It's all the same thing. How she has like an overcoat. She has like the main dress, which is this part, right? And then she has this overcoat, which sits on top, right? That's kind of like her style, right? But it's really like puffy up here. So this is actually probably one of my least favorite Weiss outfits. My favorite Weiss outfit is actually the one in volume 2, episodes 2 through 4, when they were doing those little side missions. So, I mean, lots of belts. It's great from like here down, from like the waist down. Fantastic. This is like really, really cool. I really like the way this looks, but I don't know. It's just the overcoat. It's a little too puffy in the hair. It's a bit too big for me, right? So don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's like I'm critiquing. So so I would give probably this one. I'd probably give it like a 3, right? I mean, because it's not bad, but it's not like really good. So if we're looking at our previous ones, let's go to our volume 1. Volume 1, I feel like it's the most iconic one. Volume 1 and volume 2 are very similar, but very different. So when she had her volume 1 outfit, right? She was coming off of her very high class, you know, attitude. So she, like, this is a very like stylish, poppy, you know, outfit. So I mean, she has the white boots underneath, which I always like boots. They're just cool. I mean, look at it. It's just good. The red, I've always loved the red because it accents the white like perfectly. So, and I think this is only in the white, or the Weiss short from volume 5. So it's just cool. I don't know if I ever noticed that before, but there you go. It was really cool. So yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I just really like it. What is this on her necklace? I don't know what that is on her. I don't know what the kind of necklace that is. I didn't even know she had a necklace, but there you go. I guess she did. It makes sense, but I didn't know she had a necklace. So there you go. And she has this thing in her hair. Her little pin. I guess I knew about that. Yeah, I knew about that. But it just looks very like classy. So this outfit, even though it's simple with like the colors, and then but has that red that just pops, this would be like a 5-star. It's just a good outfit. Like overall, it's just a really, really good outfit. This one, it gets really, really simple. This one's really simple. I have 2 versions because she adds a scarf to it later. But the 2 versions, right? This one's just so simple. And this is another overcoat, right? Because you can tell because like this part over here in the back, right? But it clips on right there. She has a different type of necklace. It's not really a necklace. It's kind of inside of her jacket cover thing. But I mean, still, once again, another solid outfit. I don't know if I'd go too crazy and say that this is like top tier, but it's a good outfit. So it's like 3 to 4 stars. So it's just good. And then they add the red and it just accents it really well. And for a long time, I thought she added this this tie in the middle, like way after, you know? I thought it was after the Volume 5 incident when she got stabbed, but I guess it just happened to be in the exact spot where she could just hide it underneath that. But once again, adding the red just really makes it pop again. So I'd say it's a good outfit, you know? And like I said, we're only going through her main outfits. We're not actually going through her other like the side outfits. So no dance dress, no Volume 2 side mission stuff. So only these, you know. But I mean, I'd give that pretty solid, you know. Nothing too great, nothing terrible, you know. It's just like right there in the middle. So her first one, give it like 3 stars, wasn't bad. Or I guess her newest one, let me see, first one and her second one. So her first outfit and her second outfit, I actually prefer over this one, and I'd probably give those like 4 stars. So she has so many like different outfits though. I'm gonna go ahead and give her 4 stars for this, right? So I really do like her outfits. I really do think they're really good. It's just the newest one is hindering it just a tad for me. But other than that, I mean, she has a solid outfit. So character voice, I never really thought of anything of it, right? It's decent acting. I mean, it's just been always a very simple one. With this category, I feel like it's almost going to be free points. So in terms of like the music and the voices, I feel like most characters will just kind of get free stars at that point. I mean, I feel like the average is going to be 3, and I'm just going to kind of give it to them. So unless I have something like bad to say, like for example with RWBY, it was the high pitch at first kind of pull to it, but now like where she is, it's a lot better because she's matured a lot, so it is a bit different. But with Weiss, she's always had a very solid voice. I mean, it's never been like too not good. Like it's always been a good voice, you know. She's always been like really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her 4 stars. I feel like it's just I don't have anything really negative to say about the voices in the show, unless we're talking about the Japanese dub. I was not a fan of that because I was not a fan of the Japanese dub. I tried watching that. I watched like the first season. I was like, no, I can't do this. but I don't know. So personality, whew. Okay, now we're getting into like the thick of it, you know? It's like the personality, so when I first met her, well, I guess not me meet her, but you know what I mean. When we first encountered her in volume 1, very, very upset. I was actually drawn into that. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, that was rude, you know. They call her names that I don't repeat. And that kind of attitude is something I actually find very interesting, because there's usually a reason attached to it. And I'm a big sucker for character development and character backstory and like character refinement, and I love finding out the reasons behind characters. So when she came off very prissy, I figured there was going to be a reason. If there's not a reason, then it comes off, then it would be a very low rating. But because there was a reason, and we actually get to see through like everything, we get to see the development that causes it, and the backstory that developed it into that. Like, it's really good. I love those kind of personalities, because they usually have a fantastic story attached to them. So with, let me see, in volume 1, she's very much like queen attitude, but like someone who doesn't know, like ignorant. Like, she's very ignorant of the world, right? So very much like, I'm on top of the world, but she doesn't know anything about the world, right? So in that sense, that's what it was kind of it was kind of endearing for me, for her as a character, because I was able to, you know, dive into her backstory, and I was really, really excited for it. Then you have volume 2 and 3, where she becomes more open, and she changes from being like super uptight to still like, you know, I'm the best, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, she still holds herself higher than everyone else, like a high class. She's still very proud, right? And I always think that's really, really cool. Like, I like, for example, Escanor in Seven Deadly Sins, if you haven't seen it, fantastic character. I love the way he's written. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell you anything about it, so don't worry about spoilers. But fantastic. I love prideful characters, because it's just really, really cool. I really like watching them. Then you have them in you have her in volume 4, where she's almost depressed because she's not able to have the freedom that she wants. Volume 5, she joins back in. You see that the ice, as Nora said, you know, like, she's like, oh, what went and warmed your heart while you were away, you know? So you can see that she's now very caring about everything. Not that she wasn't before, but here, like in volume 5, she was very showing of it. So you can see how it changed. And then volume 6, it's about the same. 7, it's about the same, although then she gets to Atlas, and then her attitude kind of changes from like, ugh, like, I don't like this place, and she goes to like when they fight the Aesop, she's very much like, this is my home, and then she becomes strong, and I'm like, yes, like this is great. So in terms of personality, I love her. I love this is one of my favorite types of personalities. Fantastic. So I'm gonna give her 5 stars. Right? I've always loved strong personalities such as this. I think it's just incredible. So especially since she has multiple, not like multi-personality, but like she has multiple personalities throughout the show, and it changes. Which when we get to character development, you'll see me talk about that more. So weapon, right? The Mirtnaster. I literally have it right. Oh, let me go full screen for you. Right there, right? Fantastic weapon, right? Fantastic weapon, right? Let me see. I got a thing pulled up of it. So the Mirtnaster, right? Mine doesn't have the trigger, right? So the one I have doesn't have the trigger, but that's how she uses all the dust. So it literally is a magic revolver. Instead of bullets, it's dust. And the dust, she fuses with her semblance to do crazier things. Like it's just like, what? It's a sword that has dust in it. And we've seen her in her trailer. I don't know if it's necessarily canon or not. They haven't brought it really back. I mean, Ilya's weapon kind of did it with like the electricity. I'm trying to see, like, Corsican Finnick, theirs were, they were able to shoot fire out of it. So this has magic casting instead of bullets. And honestly, I feel like that's far more effective because bullets don't do anything in this show. They're kind of like the stormtroopers. So yeah, like if you see Ren, I don't think he's ever killed anything with a bullet before. I don't know, like I mean, when it goes to the like the white soldiers that Ironwood brings, I forget what they were called. You see him in volume 2 at the finale when they all jump out and they start shooting and the Ursa's like yelling at them. Then that's when like they just have numbers. So eventually it'll do something, but you don't ever see the bullets, just like basic bullets, do anything. They just, I mean, humans can just block it with their aura. And I mean, we've seen like what do you call them? I'm having a brain fart. Watts took a revolver bullet to his back without knowing where Ironwood was, and he just had it. He didn't know where he was. He just had his aura activated and it took a revolver shot to the back. Like if that was a if that was a regular 6-shooter, like a big revolver, like it looks like, he probably would have died right there, like IRL. So them just being able to block bullets doesn't really do much for me. But this having dust in it, which is the magic of the world outside of like the maidens, yeah, I feel like this is just better. So she's a really, really good weapon, and I was so excited to get this in the mail, especially since it was solid steel. But in terms of it, her Mirtnaster, it's gonna be either 4 or 5 stars. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it's sharp enough. So in volume 7, when they do their little montage, where the one where Jean has all the moms kind of, you know, hitting on him, when it shows RWBY and Weiss clearing out Grimm, she pretty much one-shots a griffin. Griffin? I think it's a griffin. But she pretty much one-shots at the sword. So it's sharp. It's a sword. And then she has like the dust, which she uses so much. She's so familiar with it. And her being a Schnee, it's pretty crazy. But we are looking at it as just the weapon and not looking at it with like any other, like her semblance or anything. So it's a sword that has dust inside of it. So theoretically, you could just cover the I don't know if it's steel for them, but you could cover it in whatever. So like she did it in her white trailer, where she used the red one, and it looked like the red covered the sword, almost like a fire sword, but it wasn't fire. I don't know exactly what it was, but she was able to pretty much just put it up and just block the shot from the knight. I forget, it's like Armagiga, I think that's what it was. So I don't know if that was her semblance or not, but I'm assuming it was just the weapon. So I really like the weapon. I love the design. The detail to it. It's a one-handed sword, which means you could pair it up with a shield. It's just good, right? So I'm gonna give it almost 4 stars or 5 stars. So 5 stars doesn't necessarily mean it's my favorite, but it is really good. I think I'm gonna give her 5 stars for the weapon. The weapon's really good. Oh, and I already know what I'm gonna give her for the semblance, but I'll talk about it anyway. So in terms of semblance, the glyphs, the only semblance that we know of that is hereditary. That little fact right there, bonkers. Like it's already like, it doesn't even matter what the semblance is. The fact that it's hereditary instead of just random is like huge, because you can learn how to use your semblance from other people that have experience. So it's like, bruh. So she has so many things she can do with it. I can't just call it glyphs. Like it is just called glyphs, but there's so many different types of glyphs. So she is like, and she can mix it with dust based on whatever. So she used a lot of like gravity, which I don't know if that's necessarily dust that she's using, but it's the same effect as like gravity. So here, like in this scene, this is a 1-8 players and pieces. Not only was she multicasting her glyphs in the beginning of the show, but she creates a whole stream that allows RWBY to run up a straight wall. Maybe not a straight wall, but it's like it's a mountain, or a cliff side, if you would. And she did it again at Beacon Tower in the finale when that was a straight wall. Maybe like slight incline for, construction reasons or whatever. So, but that allowed RWBY to run straight up. It's kind of bonkers. So here you can see her glyph here. This was securing RWBY to the wall. Otherwise, gravity would just pull her and the Nevermore down. Which, speaking of, RWBY holding up the Nevermore with just her side. You know how ridiculously powerful she is? Just saying. That Nevermore is huge. Like, that's gonna be at least lowballing it. That bird is like a ton. Like, this Nevermore weighed at least a ton. Like, huge. It's like 1,000 pounds. Let's just say half a ton. But huge. Anyway, so she goes and she has this one where she secures it. She's able to pair it up with RWBY again, but it's not necessarily with RWBY. But she's able to pair it up with others. So then when the bullets she shoots come out, it creates like, this one's called Ice Flower, but she's able to shoot or like pair it up so that when RWBY shoots, when it makes impact, it bursts into a giant like flower. It's like, what? It's like, that's crazy. Here she's able to have a shield against a chainsaw. She also used this shield again. She used it several times. I know she used it. Oh, I have a picture of it later. Here, let me see. Here. So here she used the shield again against some of the thorns. While, like, this is against the Queen Lancer, right? So she has the bubble enhanced defense while simultaneously holding her gravity lift. she's able to multicast her gifts and her glyphs, and it's incredible. So here it's a chainsaw, and she's just like, no, you can't use it. The next one I have is when they covered them all in ice from the train impact. Like, you know how crazy that is? Because it wasn't like it was like a soft hit. No, that thing was moving. That train was schmoving, bro. It was going. Yeah, it was crazy. She had this, which is like one of my favorite things that Monty did with her glyph. This is like the haste one. That's also Weiss in the background, but on the ground. But this is like the haste spell that like he did this. He did it before in his Dead Fantasy, which when I was watching, I was like, whoa, Dead Fantasy. It's kind of crazy. So it is reused, but dude, this was incredible because Blake turned into a total BA, dude. Especially with back when Blake was dual wielding. Incredible. She's able to set it up and ice skate it. Ice skate on it. So not only is this tracking her like it was with RWBY, this is probably after it evolved a little bit, because this is in volume 8 compared to volume 1. And she has the glyphs going up and she's ice skating on it. She did this before, in the first time we saw this was in volume 3, I want to say 3-10, 3-11. The first time she summoned in order to save Velvet. So we saw it there, although it looked like she was more running, while this one looks more like it is she's ice skating, which it could have been the same thing, but maybe it's just animated different now. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's the same thing, but yeah. So we've also seen her in 1-8. Actually, we saw it twice in Player in Pieces, volume 1, chapter 8. We saw her use her, it was like a super dash almost, where she was able to, you know, fly, like not fly, but not running, but dash forward. Like she wasn't moving. Like she was like standing back like this and she was on her glyphs and it was like propelling her forward. Almost like if I just took a picture and just drug it across. Like that was kind of it. And when she, you see a little bit better when she goes and she jumps in 1-8 and she freezes the Nevermore to the temple thing that they're at. I don't know where they're at. The ruins. But you can see her kind of dashing forward, which I don't know, maybe that takes a little bit more time to set up. I don't know the true gist of it, but she's able to, so this is probably with her dust, but she uses like wind. She can use wind. Here she does ice. She's just, dude, Weiss looks like a menace right here. Look at her. But she has the ice as well as fire. So I mean, the ice was cast first and then fire was cast after, but still, like, that is kind of incredible. Like, the graphics got so much better in this show, just saying. She's able to multicast. We saw this in her trailer as well. She's able to multicast little bursts of energy, which like in this case it took down a ton of different little lancers. So that was very cool, while simultaneously holding on to her gravity glyph. She uses what I call the wall of Weiss. She uses this is in volume 8 when she's going against the Hound, but she uses it. How many times did she use it? 3 times, I want to say. So off the top of my head, I can think of 3. So I can think of the first one, which is in Haven against Vernal, which kind of just gets destroyed. The second time is using it against the Aesops, and the third time is right here against the Hound. I mean, there are other times but there are other times she's summoned great like mounts of ice. So like in 3-1 when they're fighting against I forget what that team's name is, but she pretty much creates like a ramp for Yang to ride on. So, and then they combo off of it. But I'm looking at more of like the wall, but she's able to summon like a ton of ice. Like that's a lot of ice. And of course you can't talk about her semblance without talking about the summons. So far we've seen Weiss summon 4 things. 3 full summons and 1 incomplete summon. So the first one is the Borbatusk. This is what she defeated this one in volume 1. So Borbatusk, really cool. I mean, it was about to run that lady over till Ironwood unfortunately shot her or shot it. Then you have this one. This one is like the huge reveal, but this is the Queen Lancer that she got in volume 5. Look at Lionheart in the back, just like what. But let me see. So then here is her with her giant knight behind her. Dude, incredible. And here I decided to, because you can't just look at just Weiss. You have to be able to look at the semblance as a whole. And since it's hereditary, I can show off a higher level amount. So this is Winter summoning all these different Beowulfs to train her sister. And like, that's like 4 full-grown Grimm. And she did it before against Crow, where she summoned all of the little baby Nevermores, and she did it against Cinder in volume 7. So this one was the crazy one though. But I'll get to that in a second. So this is the mom's Borbatusk, and it's huge. It is massive in comparison to the one that Weiss summoned. So if you look at the one that Weiss summoned, right? She's on the ground, laying down. Like that is a full-grown woman right there. And this one's maybe as tall as those ropes behind her. But then you get to her mom, and this is bigger than a desk. Like, this is huge. This Borbatusk is massive. This has to be an alpha. It is massive, dude. So, and then you have this one, which changed like everything. I've only made one theory video, and it's in regard to the Hound, which I think isn't possible anymore, but I thought it was a really good theory. But this right here, when she was summoning a Nevermore, which she hadn't dealt the finishing blow, changed the rules of her semblance, or changed the rules that we thought were. Like, we thought it had to be things that she killed. Like, she had to have the landing strike on, because it was the Giga Arma, the Borbatusk, and the Queen Lancer. She dealt the final blows on all of those. And now she's summoning a Nevermore, and the only Nevermore we've seen her beat was in volume 1, which is just like, what? She's summoning a Nevermore? This one's smaller than that Nevermore, but still. Bro, this moment right here, like, if you're not part of the RWBY Reactions Discord, just know we have a section where we talk about every episode. This we talked about for hours. because this changed everything. So it was really good. So I mean that's about probably gonna be all it for the pictures, but her semblance, 5 stars, easy. Like I would give her like 30 stars if I could, because it's just so much more powerful than every other semblance in the show. It is bonkers. Is it my favorite? No, but it's so much to dive into. Her combat. Okay, so with combat, she's a mage, right? If we're looking at her in classes, she's a mage, which is why Vernal beats her very easy in volume 5. A lot of people really get confused because they're looking at it and they're like, oh no, like why should be stronger and why was Vernal able? Because Vernal is a rogue. Rogues will just go in and make it so the mage can't cast. That was literally the whole point. This was rogue versus mage, and it's a battle of time. If the rogue, the question is, with that fight, with that pair, or with a mage at all, is can they cast? If they cast, they win. If they can't cast, they lose. With rogues, they're gonna make it so you can't cast. That's like their specialty. Fast little hits. They don't do like a stupid amount of damage, but that was it. That's why she lost. Other than that, she's very elegant in her fighting style. In her white character short, you can see how she's like trying to show off to Winter. But she's still elegant with it. And the way she uses her semblance, she uses it in many different ways. So she's very good at combat. When she's able to get a cast off, it usually changes stuff. It does take a little bit longer to get it, but that's because it's a long cast. It's a powerful spell. So powerful spells take longer. Weaker spells take shorter. So quick cast versus long cast, and her being able to have multiple spells that she can cast from the back is huge, instead of just being able to do one thing. Like she's so good in combat. Like she's not very great in hand to hand, I will tell you that. She does lose like all of her battles for a long time. I don't know very many battles in which she won. Like I can think of Marrow. Yeah. So she I don't see very, I mean, you can technically count Flint. You could technically count it, even though he kind of bodied her and then she just kind of jumped in and he still survived. So technically it wasn't a loss, but him being one shot allowed Yang to win. But in terms of hand to hand, if with her combat with the sword, not very great. But her combat with her semblance and the dust, it's really good. And I actually really like her fighting with the sword too. It's just she's like plot makes her lose, so it is really unfortunate. But I actually really do like her combat with the sword, especially since she's just so elegant with it the entire time. So with combat, I'm just gonna comfortably say either 4 or 5. Her semblance is just so good. I have to give her 5. Her semblance is just so good for combat. Yeah, I mean, that was it. Okay, so theme song. She has like 6 songs. But if we're gonna look at the song, it's gonna be "This Life Is Mine." This song, This Life Is Mine, is my personal favorite song in the entire show. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a gold star here. So the gold star, like I said, it doesn't do anything for Weiss, but it does, what do you call it? It just shows that she's my personal favorite in this specific category. So theme song, I'm not really going to beat around the bush here. She's getting 5 stars in this category, easy. I would give her like 30 stars in this category, but 5 stars is the max. So I'm going to give her 5 stars simply because her music is so good. I literally have played that song, This Life Is Mine, today alone probably 3 times. And that's only because of drive time. It's short. If I was opening like my store this morning, I probably would have had it listen a little more. And especially the version, I actually prefer the version done by Caleb Hiles, his cover. I actually prefer that version because I'm actually able to like sing along with it and not be so like out of tune with her voice, because she's a lot like Casey is so much higher. That's such a high pitched voice. I mean, it's just a natural thing. So 5 stars easy in this category. I feel like this is an easy category. Like I said, in terms of music, most of her music is gonna be like most people who have any sort of song, I'm probably gonna give minimum 3 stars, minimum, unless they just have nothing with the character at all. Yeah, like it would be bad. The only character I'm really worried about is Penny when I get to her, because she doesn't have a theme song yet. I think it's in the season 8 soundtrack, but she doesn't have like any songs. So I'm really, really worried about her. I really need them to come up with the soundtrack so I can have a character, so I can have a theme song for her. Anyway, so character backstory, it's not like it's a good backstory. It's a good backstory. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's good. She grew up with her dad married into the Schnee family to take over as a businessman. He didn't marry her for her. He married her for her name, and he admitted that on Weiss's birthday, which is kind of tragic. And she grew up with a very distant family. It was simple. I really liked it though, because it gave so much insight to the character. So like, yeah, I mean, it just gave so much insight to the character. So her backstory, although the details themselves weren't the best. Whoa, excuse me, phone. I'm in the middle of a mess of the things here, dude. Come on, man. Jeez. Phone. I forgot to put it on mute. My fault. So, like I said, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. I thought I actually really liked it, and the way they sprinkled it in, was actually really good. So, I'm going to, how do I want to do this? It's either gonna be 4 or 5 stars. I'm trying to think. Yo. Still texting me, bro. All right, hold up. Okay, there you go. I'll take care of it. Let me see here. It wasn't tragic. I really love tragic backstories, which I'm currently watching Seven Deadly Sins, and they do fantastic with the backstories. So, yeah. But with this one, it's either, I want to say, I think it just puts so much insight to her character. But as a backstory itself, I'm just thinking. As a backstory itself, it wasn't like crazy good, but it was good. Like it wasn't like anything like out of the moon. Like, so is it 3 stars? Is that what I'm giving her? 3 stars? 4 stars? Or because it led? I don't know. I'm a big sucker for character development. Her backstory really gave us like everything. Although she didn't have much of a backstory, but it was like we did. I think I give her 3 here. I think I give her 3. Yeah, I think I give her 3. Yeah, I'm gonna give her 3. So it was overall good, but it wasn't like tragic. And the more like devastating, those are the ones that really get me. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her 3 for the backstory. So character development. Okay, I feel like this is just well known throughout the entire series. Weiss has the best character development in the show. She transforms. Well, at least like maybe Osmond, but my personal favorite is Weiss. So she gets another gold star here because her like the way she grows is just really good. It's really good. So she has my personal favorite because she changes from I explained this with the personality, how she changes. So volume 1, she's very stuck up. Volume 2, like you can see it kind of break near the end when it goes to the badge and the burden, that kind of change, where she's very entitled, and it changes to like where she realizes she has to think about it. And it was a kind of quick change, but that was kind of a budget thing. Then it changes to volume 2, where she's still very stuck up. Not stuck up, but she's very upper, like proper, but she's like very proud, very prideful. She still holds herself at a much higher standard than everyone else. And then she learns how to work with it. And you can see her when she goes in her backstory, you can see generally everything that takes her from stuck up snob to where she is now. And is she like the mother of the group? I guess not. I don't know if I want to say that, but she changes from so negative where like when I watch reactions, I watch a ton of reactions. Everyone hates her in the beginning, and then they all say that she's like the highest tier character in the show. And it's like I just think the change is just so fun to watch, and I watched it over and over where people were like I said, in the first couple episodes they're calling her names, and then they learn about it, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that would be why. Then they see the like the family, and that the mother's a drinker, and you know, like we get to see the backstory of the dust company. Okay, hold up. I I gotta give her another star, because now I'm thinking about like the dust company stuff. Like, that's not necessarily her, but because she is with, like, her name is tied to the company and she plans to take over, the dust company stuff is huge. So I'm gonna give her a star there. Like I said, in terms of character development, easy 5 stars. Really, really good. Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm looking back at some of the stuff, because now that I've been talking about it, I'm thinking back to certain things. I'm looking back on my list, and I'm wondering if there's any last minute revisions I want to do. I don't know. Like, I'm looking at her character backstory, and like, I want to give her 5 stars for that, but it's not like top of the line, so I'm not going to. Her voice, first impression. All right. With first impression, it was so long ago that I'm trying to think back. No, I actually really like. I did. So I'm gonna go back to first impression. I'm gonna go back to first impression. So when we're looking at it, like I said, I had my the goddess she has is Freya, which my first impression of her was actually really sick. And I actually want to say that Ruby's first impression was incredible. Did I give Ruby 5 stars? I gave Ruby 5 stars, right? I only gave Ruby 4 stars? Wow, okay. I feel like that's wrong. I feel like I should have given Ruby 5 stars for her first impression. But now I'm thinking back. And you know what? I'm doing that. I'm giving Ruby another star. So I'm going to change her points to 36. So if you're watching this after my first one, Ruby, thinking back on her trailer, it was incredible. And I've seen, like, from what I've seen from other people's first reactions, is that they usually are super hooked. So I'm giving her 36 stars. I'm changing it. It doesn't change her on the tier list, but it was a 5-star impression. I don't know why I said 4. But Ruby, her first impression was a 5-star, because that was the first thing anyone saw, and a lot of people get drawn in immediately. They get taken back by the graphics, but then that first impression hits where they actually see Ruby fighting like a hardcore chick, and it usually like draws them back, like easily catches them. So for my Ruby Rose, whatever I said, I'm changing it. 36 points is where she is now. It doesn't necessarily change too much here, but it does. Let me do one thing for Weiss. So for Weiss, I'm giving her 1 more star here. Because now that I'm thinking back on it, although I wasn't necessarily drawn into her character, I was able to play that character more, and her voice lines were really good, like in the game Smite, and her white trailer. I actually am thinking back, and I remember me talking about it with a friend of mine, and I was like, oh snap, that's crazy. And I was actually really, really hyped. So yes, coming off of the RWBY high definitely hindered, but with her, I feel like she deserves 4 stars there. So although I did change it, I feel like this still stands. So 4 stars for the first impression. I feel like that's good. So you have good kind of in the middle. So like neutral to good. You have like really good. You have great, like perfect. Then you have like on the C, you have like not good. Then you have terrible. So first impression, 4 stars. I'd agree with that. Maybe because I did it, but character design, this is just a little too bushy for me. So yeah, 4 stars. Character voice, I don't mind her voice. I think it's overall pretty good. I've grown really accustomed to it. Personality, it kind of links with the character development because it changes throughout. That's why I really like her personality. Weapon, fantastic. Semblance, fantastic. Combat, fantastic. I mean, this is like one of the best characters in the show. So this is going to be, I'm going to add her points up. So we have 40, 45, 46, right? So 46, I'm going to give Weiss a 46. Whoa, a 46 out of 50. Yeah. So 46 out of 50. And this looks a lot better too, instead of that random like 3. I don't know. I think mostly, this my personal opinion might have swayed this a little bit, but still, I still stand by this. So 46 is what I'm giving her. That puts her at the bottom of S tier. So I didn't actually think we were going to have an S tier character, but we do. So, Weiss Schnee, you are a S tier character in my playbook. S plus would be like 50 flat. So S tier, really good. So that was Weiss. In the comment section below, what I want y'all to do is put your points, like your total points down below. And once I get several episodes into this, I'm going to also create a tier list made by you guys. So I'm going to average out your points. The more I get, the better. So if you watched it, you just put your points in, you know, and I want to compare my list to y'all's list. So other than that, Weiss, S tier character, wouldn't expect less. Like I knew she was gonna be at least an A. So S tier, yeah, I see that. So other than that, we're gonna move on, right? You guys have yourself a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next one.